All right, so today we're going to revisit the low definition spinner with some of the more recent updates to xLights. The way to create the submodels has gotten quicker, so I wanted to show you that. So if you haven't made them, you can make them quicker now. And we've added a new submodel that a lot of the higher definition props have called fireworks. So I want to show you how we create that. So this one should be pretty quick. Like I said, it's just an update, and let's jump right into it. So here's our low definition spinner, right? And this will work for any spinner. This one has to be a Viscoil one, but anything that's built like this with wedges and little spokes, you'd be able to do. So let's jump right in. We're going to go over here. We're going to jump into the submodels, and we're going to add a new submodel. We're going to call this wedges odd. All right, and so what we're going to do is when we create this, we consider this a wedge. So there's 1, there's 2, there's 3. So in this particular spinner, we got 16 wedges, and we're going to do the odd ones. And the reason we want to do odds and evens is if too many pixels overlap in these submodel groups, then things don't really render correctly or render the way you would expect. So, and it's also we're going to leave out this center pixel. So what we want to do is first we just want to create one of these wedges, and we're going to start with this one. This will be, we'll consider this wedge 1. And we're just going to, I like to window the pixels. You could double click on them and it'll pick them as well. I just find windowing a little bit quicker. And you want to pick these in the proper order. Because you want to treat it as if it's a single line effect was going up and around and down. That's the order you want to pick them in. And we'll get them all picked there. All right. So now the next thing we want to do is now we got one wedge created. The old way of doing it, we'd add rows and we'd create each wedge individually. But now we can come in here, we can right click. We can do symmetric size, rotationally, and then it wants to know how many degrees of symmetry you have, and that's really how many of these different wedges we want to make. Well, since there's a total of 16 wedges in this particular one, and we're doing the odd ones, we have 8 degrees of symmetry. So we just hit OK. And should a center node be identified? We don't have to do that in this case since it's perfectly symmetrical. We'll just hit OK. And if you look, it actually just created all the other ones for us. The only thing we got to do is take this first one and pushes the first one created all the way to the bottom. And I just want to jump it all the way up to the top. And the reason being is now you'll see it. There's the first one, the second one. So it just goes around clockwise, makes a nice simple order. So that's really, really quick, much faster than the way before. And if we wanted to do even wedges, yeah, we'll just do it quick. It's so quick, we'll just do the even wedges too. So we're going to add a new submodel. We'll call this wedges even. And so here's a wedge 1. So this would be wedge 2. And again, we'll just pick it really quickly. And remember, you want to pick them in the order that they're going. If you pick whole groups it may not be in the proper order. So that's why I like to go one at a time. Same as before. Symmetric size 8, no, OK. And same thing, we just jump the bottom one. We'll use the arrows, jump it up to the top. And now we have the even wedges. And if you look, each one goes right around. And it's that simple. So we've been using these two in our sequences for quite a long time. It just gives a lot more pop, a lot more variation than what's typically defined. And I noticed a lot of the other submodels, showstopper spinner and the snowflake and different ones have been using. They call it the fireworks. And I thought, well, let's figure out how we can add this to this model. So let me show you what we came up with here. So we're going to add another new submodel. We'll call this one fireworks. All right. And so what I do, we're going to come up on this top spoke. So I want you to envision this, you're going to use a single strand effect. So we're going to have a line that's going to come up, shoot up like a firework. And once it hits here, it's going to explode. So we're going to pick to the left, then to the right, to the left, to the right, then to the left, and to the right. And that's what we're going to use here. So let me explain something before we go rotational on this. Is since I took all these ones, and the reason I didn't pick these two is because we're going to shoot up here. For our next, we're going to make this our next one. We're going to actually do every other one, because if I tried to include this one here, all these other pixels we'd get duplicate pixels. And I'll show you that again once after we create it. But this is our base firework here. And same thing, we're just going to go the same thing we did with the wedges. So we're going to symmetricize it. We're going to keep the 8 degrees of symmetry. And as before, jump that bottom one, just click enough arrows, jump it up to the top. So now you can see there's the first one, there's the next one. And you can see if we pick this one and come up here, all these pixels here and all these pixels here would be overlapping and things would not render the way we want it. Now we could make 2 different fireworks, one even and one odd, but in this particular case, I think it's just fine to have the one. But that's our new fireworks submodel that we're using in some of our newer sequences. So if you have any questions, certainly reach out. Thank you for supporting the store. Thank you for supporting the channel. And happy xLights.